Good morning, everyone. This is Linda, and as you can tell by my voice, I am getting better. I am going to survive this flu, and I'm so glad because I've been not been feeling too well, and so stitching has kind of been slow, and creating for you guys here on YouTube has been slow too. But I wanted to talk about making some very freestyle scrappy birds. Everyone seems to love birds, and they bring us a lot of joy, and they just put a smile on our face. I've talked about making these little collage pieces out of your scraps. I wanted to show you what one looks like. I have just laid down fabrics, cut yarns, just whatever I had to go on here, just collage it down on a piece of quilt batting. And hold on just one second. Okay, and when I do that, then I put a piece of netting over that to hold everything in so that it doesn't fall off or rearrange itself when I'm stitching it, okay? So this one has not been stitched yet, and it'll be next up. This one has been stitched, and I have cut off of it, but you can see that just using different scraps, same technique, absolutely. Then you can see where I sewed it all down. I did it by the machine, and then I cut my little bird shapes from these, and this is my foundation that I start with 99% of the time, and occasionally I will just not do it with this, but just a piece of fabric. But I like to start with this because it always gives me a patterned multicolored base, which is very helpful for these birds to come out looking natural. It's hard to layer everything sometimes, so if you start with a colored and textured base, it really helps. Okay, so let's look at some of them that I started with this basic shape, and I just drew my own. As you can see, I'm not an artist. I just drew my own. It's kind of like a petal shape, and that's what I cut my little bird sections out of. I tried several sizes till I got one that I liked, and this one works really well for making small slow stitch projects. Okay, so that's what I start with. Now this one, as you can see, I have the basic shape down in the back, and this one was made out of a piece of fabric. It wasn't made from my collaged one. This one, I wanted to show you one that starts in a different way, but this one started out of this fabric here, okay? Now this had different colors in it and a pattern, so that gave me the diversity and the mix-up in the background that I wanted there. Everything else is a matter of layering up scraps, okay? I work out of a scrap tub. This is what my scrap tub looks like right now. And I change it up and mix it up according to, the mood or color I'm in. I'll have several of these tubs around in different colors. As you can tell, this one is in earth tones and blacks and rich tones like that. My tub of threads, I have confetti chopped up fabric here, and just stuff that I draw from. I also have some a little package of snippet cuts that I use in here. Everything is usable and small because this is a small project, and we're just layering up things, okay? You want textures too that you can fray and pull threads on and things like that. You want all kinds of textures. I've got this here, which is a gridding like, and this silver kind of looks like silver lame, but it's not lame, but it works good. This gauzy fabric, just laces and trims, just anything that scrappy wise that is interesting and that you want to work with. And then I make the bird on its own. I'll take the piece, the background piece that I'm working with, and I'll start working on layering up that bird. When I get it pretty much the way I want it, it's never totally finished, but when I get it pretty much the way I want it, then I can add it to my background and nesting piece. The nesting part, as you can tell, is just scraps. It's just absolutely scraps. And they're just sewn on with a straight stitch. All right. I try to simulate something that might look like some bark or greenery, leaf greenery, or flowers, or anything like that. Then I try to put in what I think might look more like the bedding material that is always seems to be in the nest. Lots of little softer stuff in the center, and just give it a nice nesting place. And also the little beads there that act like the eggs show up good on that lighter color there. Then I just place the bird that I've been working on. I place it down, and I will sew it down, okay? And I will work on the tail at that time. A lot of times I might have something sewn to this for the tail, but to finish it up, I will tuck it in and at that time and sew it in. The little beak is nothing but a, let's see here. It's nothing but a little triangle that you just cut and put on there. Okay, it's just a little triangle. Now what makes this pretty to me is the layering. We have the background piece. This is like one, let's see, let me see if I can count some of this stuff. The background piece is here. Then I have another piece under here that's 2. This one's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's about 10 different pieces or 11 different pieces here. That's all just tiny pieces. They are, if they're not already frayed out, I fray what I can. And then I use just straight stitches to simulate feathers, movement in the feathers, things like that. I put a little glitzy piece here, just use straight stitches to put it in, and added some fibers on this tail, okay? The eye is just a little piece of, I had one here a minute ago, just a little piece of white fabric that I cut in a square or a circle, and I will put it on there and then tie a knot, French knot in it for an eye. And this piece of fabric was already frayed, so I just turned it up to simulate a little top knot there for this one. Each bird is different because as I'm layering, and the fabrics that I'm layering with all do different things. And so each bird looks a little different. Okay, so this one I called Little Bit because she's made of course, little bits of this, that, and the other thing, but it's not difficult. It is freestyle. There is no like guideline or technique because, I mean, I can't tell you how to place each scrap in the nest. I can't tell you how to place each scrap on the bird layering. It's just something you do, and you do it several times, and you get better and better at getting the look that you want to get out of it. Okay, let's look at the next one. Now this one is not quite as scrappy looking because I didn't fray a whole lot of stuff on this one. And the bird nest is the same. It's just scraps put together, sewn with straight stitches, lots of fibers in there. Okay. The bird again is layered. Let's see if we can count layers here. Now this one, although you can't see all that's in the background, I did start with this blue. Okay. And this particular blue had, it's blue showing here. It had green and blue showing here, a little of the pink showing down in here. Okay. Then I layered in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different things on the bird, layering in little pieces, doing the stitching that gives it the idea of its little feathers being fluffed out. Okay. Then I put the tail piece on, and I used stitching on the end of the tail piece to accentuate it, give it a little different look. Added a few of these fibers that are in the nesting just to change up the background, like some of the nesting is popping up on the other side of the bird. Okay. The beak and the eye and all that is done the same. I just stitched down his little legs and little feet. And so you can see how totally different just layering up two different birds using the same basic technique, the same shape. It depends on what bits and pieces you use. It depends on where you place your stitches and how you place them. It's just a matter of free forming it, free spirit. Just create it the way you want to. Add what you want to. Things don't make any rhyme or reason, like, oh, why did I stick this up there? There's no guideline. I can't write a guideline that says you must do this, that, and the other, because it doesn't work that way when you're working freestyle. It's just what feels right, what looks good to you with that particular piece at that particular time. Okay? All right. Now this one is still a work in progress. Again, the nesting is all bits and pieces with straight stitching here, there, and everywhere in different colors of thread to hold it down. Then the bird was created basically on its own, and now I've placed it in there, and I've started stitching around the outside to hold that bird in, but using the stitching that looks like it gives me some movement, some feather movement on there. Okay. I haven't finished the stitching around here yet. I haven't finished the stitching on the different elements up in here. The tail is quite extravagant, as you can tell. I had some of these pieces here I put on, then I put on a little, this piece is the same as this one here in the middle. It's back there. Then I had this, this stuff right here. Let me see. This is, what did I want to show you what I made that out of. If I can find it in my thing here. Let's see. I know it's in here somewhere because I just used it. But here it is. You see this cording? This is just regular cording, and I undid it. Okay. And I get these pieces. And then when you undo these pieces, there's a piece of black cording in the center, or it's this dark gray cording, and it unravels too. So you get all this wonderful texture that you can play with. So just a piece of cording, no, I couldn't handle that big piece of cording on here, but if I take it apart and use it, then that's different. And so I got the light silver piece, and I got the darker inside gray piece there to finish out the tail feathers here. Pieces, how many pieces might be layered on here? This started as, let's see, this started as a strictly, I cut the shape out of quilt batting, okay? Then I used a piece of sheer fabric that I had. Gosh, it's hard to tell you because I used it all up, but this little bit back here that's showing and along the edges here is what's basically left of it that you can see. Let me pull that up. Can't really see a lot, but it was a piece of sheer material in this little brown color here, and so I used that to cover the batting. And then I started working on the wing part. I used a piece of heavier fabric that frayed good. I put that down. Then I started layering in other things. This fuchsia pink here is a piece of lace. Just cut a piece of lace. All these other bits are just bits and pieces that's in my bucket there. And I've got it down. Now I've got it just base stitched right now, but those will stay in because you don't even notice my basting once I get my other stitches in. Okay, so we've got the base piece. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got at least 10 fabrics, 10 pieces of different kinds of things layered up on this little bird so far. It doesn't have to be perfect. No, none of these wings or anything look exactly alike. They just have to simulate. The brain takes over and says, oh, a wing. If it just simulates a wing, that's all you have to do. And if you want to get movement, use your threads to give you movement. Use your frayed edges to give you movement. And that gives you a sense of reality to your piece. For instance, this piece looks really stable. This piece looks like there's more movement. In this piece, you can almost hear her fluffing out her little feathers. In this piece, he's just sitting there looking glorious. He's not fluffing anything at the moment, okay? I have just an overcast stitch around. I don't have a lot of stitches that are showing movement like this one is, okay? I don't have a lot of that on this one. The most movement you might find is that coming around this right here. Just helps you to delineate the wing for the rest of the body, okay? This one's going to have more of a sense of movement. I am going to put that in when I put in more of my stitching, and of course this tail helps with the movement also. I wish I could just give you a guideline as to how you can create one of these. And, making a video where I stitch every part and piece would be very long and drawn out. But it really, you really don't need that if you can just get your basic shape. You can also get you a basic wing shape if you think you need to do that. Just cut, let's see. Let me get here. I've got one. Here's like I said, this is like a big petal, little petal, okay? And you can see where the little petal will go on like a wing. So if you just take your little petal and you think you have to have a petal shape to start with, just cut something. Cut something out of a piece of fabric. Let's say that we're going to start on this one and we just think we got to have a petal shape. This one's not quite big enough to get the entire petal, but that doesn't matter because as we layer up, we can use another piece to finish it out, or we can finish it out with stitching. Absolutely, this can just be done with scraps. Okay, then you can start with a wing shape. Now, if you're an absolute beginner with fiber arts of any kind, then this would probably be the best way to start, because it gives you something to work with, okay? You may cover this entire thing up, and that's okay, because what it is there for is just composition and give you a place to start, okay? Now, in a very basic bird like this one, I used just the shape itself, period. That was all there is to this. There's a background piece that was a collage. There's two size feathers put on there. And that's all the layering that's on there. And you can create a simple little bird like that. Just really cute. But if you want to get into the more fancy fiber art birds, you have to start layering up things. Okay? But you can start with that right there and go from there. All right. Now this is my basic bird shape now. After I complete the ones that I want to do with this shape, I am going to try a different shape as my base background and work with that and see if I can create a different bird. I don't know what it'll look like yet because I haven't got there, but I think I can do that. But meantime, creating these little birds is just so much fun, okay? And you can do it. You can make a piece of fabric art while creating the little birds that you love so much. And each one is different because you don't grab the same scraps, you don't grab the same size, everything doesn't fray the same, everything doesn't look the same combined together. I mean, all of these are made out of my scrap bin, okay, every one of them, and they all look different, okay, this one, and they all look totally different, and they're all made out of that scrap bin. Now, like I said, I will pull, I have several of those that are in different color shades. So like, for instance, if I'm going to work with blues, I pulled one for here, earth tones more from here and here. You know, this one was done with scrappy flowers. All right. And I do have a two-part video on exactly, I take you through the whole process. I make it for you in those videos. So anyway, that's how these birds are created, and I hope you'll try it out and create some of your own, because I guarantee you that if you do something like that, you are going to stay very scrap happy.